This is Plant-Based Briefing, 5 Myths About Your Turkey Dinner by Jessica Scott-Reid at sentientmedia.org. And I'm Marian Erickson. This is the curated content plant-based podcast where I narrate a variety of articles on plant-based and vegan living with permission in about 10 minutes or less every weekday. And with the holiday season upon us, I always like to do an episode about turkeys. So now let's get to today's plant-based briefing. 5 Myths About Your Turkey Dinner by Jessica Scott-Reid at sentientmedia.org. The real facts about this American tradition might surprise you. Serving a turkey for holiday dinner is so common, it might as well be as American as apple pie. Whether it's for Thanksgiving, Christmas, or some other occasion, Americans consumed 5.1 billion pounds of turkey in 2021, with each bird weighing up to 30 pounds or more. Yet this type of poultry wasn't always synonymous with holiday dinners. It's one of the many myths about turkeys that proliferate each fall. Here are the facts. Myth: eating turkey is an American tradition. Fact: turkey farming likely originated in Mexico. While wild turkeys are native to various regions of North America, the Mayans of southern Mexico were likely the first to domesticate turkeys around 2,000 years ago, according to the National Audubon Society, an American environmental organization dedicated to the conservation of birds and their habitats. Historians believe that early Spanish explorers then brought these domesticated birds back with them to Europe. From there, early European colonists migrating to America's Atlantic seaboard actually brought domestic turkeys along with them, writes Michael Stein for Audubon, completing the circle back to America. Yet another myth: there's no indication that turkey was ever even served at the first Thanksgiving. In fact, many stories told of that day in 1620 Massachusetts are built around colonialist perspectives, erasing indigenous versions of events, including the food most indigenous people in the U.S. typically ate, like corn, squash, and beans. Myth: turkey meat is good for you. Fact: while turkey meat, like chicken, is lower in saturated fat than beef, it can still contain high levels of heart-harming saturated fats depending on how it is prepared. For holiday meals, turkeys are often slathered with butter before roasting or deep-fried in oil, often consumed with the fatty skin and gravy made from fat drippings. Prepared according to one of these methods, turkey is not a low-fat meal, and deep-frying turkeys can also be a safety risk, as dozens of accidents injuring people and damaging property are reported each year. Raw or undercooked turkey meat can also be contaminated with salmonella, a potentially deadly strain of bacteria that can spread to humans if they eat or handle meat that isn't safely prepared. Food safety experts from the CDC, USDA, and FDA estimate that over 23% of foodborne salmonella illnesses are from chicken and turkey. Myth: turkeys are dumb. Fact: turkeys are intelligent, emotional, and social animals. They're smart, showing personality and character and keen awareness of their surroundings, said Oregon State University poultry scientist Tom Savage to The Atlantic in an article linked here. When allowed to, turkeys enjoy tight-knit families, according to the Humane Society of the United States. Not only do broods remain together for up to 5 months, but male siblings form lifelong social units. And turkeys have a refined language of yelps and cackles, wrote naturalist Joe Hutto in his book on wild turkeys. They also will mourn the death of a flock member. Though they may appear funny-looking or even perpetually confused, turkeys are in fact sentient beings with individual wants, needs, thoughts, and feelings. Myth: turkey meat is good for the planet. Fact: beans are the real climate winner. According to the Environmental Working Group, every 4-ounce serving of turkey consumed is the greenhouse gas equivalent to driving a vehicle 2.75 miles. Alternatively, lentils and beans of the same amount are equivalent to driving close to 0 miles, while tofu amounts to driving just half a mile. The difference in carbon footprints is in part due to the land required to grow crops needed to feed the animals. Myth: turkeys are raised and slaughtered humanely. Fact: turkey farming poses many animal welfare concerns. Birds today are grown to be unnaturally large and heavy, which can lead to injuries, particularly to their overburdened feet. Often trapped and crammed into large warehouses, the animals are unable to exhibit most natural behaviors, including roosting and foraging. The most common method of slaughtering turkeys involves shackling the large birds upside down by their feet, dunking their heads into electrified water, running their necks along a blade before plunging them into a tank of scalding hot water to remove their feathers. This is done by fast-moving assembly lines, where mistakes can happen, including improper stunning leading to conscious cutting and scalding. In the U.S., humanely raised labeling claims can be made by any turkey producer who fills out a written application that describes how their animals are humanely raised with a sketch of the label. There is little to no regulatory oversight. Be thankful for other options. Myths about turkeys, along with their comparatively low price, may explain why Americans consume so many of these birds. Thankfully, there are other options that come with far less cultural baggage, animal suffering, and eco-impact. Plant-based holiday meal ideas are abundant online, and ready-made, animal-free meals are now common in stores. Traditional meals can evolve and change, and in some cases they must, especially those based on myths to begin with. You just listened to 5 Myths About Your Turkey Dinner by Jessica Scott-Reid at sentientmedia.org. And I'm your host, Marian Erickson, and I will link some other episodes in the show notes about turkeys. They include 121 Turkeys by United Poultry Concerns, 152 The Best Vegan Thanksgiving Roasts, Your Ultimate Taste Test, 408 and 409 Dying Traditions, The Truth About Thanksgiving Turkey by Hope Bohanec, 410 The Mother Turkey and Her Young by Karen Davis at United Poultry Concerns, 664 12 Wonderful Turkey Facts That Will Make Your Thanksgiving a Vegan One from Veg News, 672 The Modern Turkey in Need of Thanksgiving Deliverance from Karen Davis, and 689 Inside a Turkey Factory by slaughterhouse worker Jim Mason. And I've shared this before on the podcast. I was vegetarian for many, many years. We raised our daughters vegetarian, and then I got tired of it. I had never educated myself on the truth about animal treatment in the animal farming industry. So I figured I would just eat humanely raised animals, and we were having our first non-vegetarian Thanksgiving with family, about 30 family members coming over. And I researched and found this sort of local farm that had heritage turkeys, and they were humanely raised. So I drove quite a ways to go pick one up, and I was so happy with myself. And I'm preparing this turkey. People are coming over in a few hours, and my then, I think, 10-year-old daughter sneaks into the kitchen and puts a card down. She had made a card and puts it down and then runs off. And I went over, looked at it, and on the outside of the card, it says important in capital letters and about 10 exclamation points. And then I opened it up, and she had written, "Imagine you were a baby turkey around Thanksgiving, ... You would see someone going up to your mummy. You couldn't look. Then you'd turn around and go up to her, but she would be picked up and carried away after you got to her. Do something," in all caps, lots of exclamation points. "Save the animals," more exclamation points. I'm sorry, I'm very sensitive, and this still affects me, obviously. Because just like the animals are innocent and defenseless and have no say, my young daughter had no say in the fact that we were all of a sudden now harming animals, taking mummies from their babies. She was helpless. She was just hoping I, as the person she looks up to and counts on and relies on, would do the right thing and stop the abuse, stop taking mummies from their babies. But I just thought, oh, how sweet, what a sweet, sensitive girl. And I went to the computer to Google information to let her rest assured that nobody was harmed, it was fine, it didn't matter. Turkey babies don't need their mummies, that kind of thing. And oh my gosh, I was wrong. I started Googling and found answers I didn't want to find because I'd never bothered to Google before about this topic and was horrified. But again, I just shut down, didn't bother looking anymore. Saw a little bit that I didn't want to see, and told her that we had bought a turkey that was at least humanely raised. I had no idea about the slaughter process, the fact that babies do in fact need their mothers, and you can check out some of the episodes that I will be linking in the show notes that I mentioned, but there's no way to eat an animal in a humane way. There's absolutely no way. We need to just stop. We need to come back to our compassionate roots. Children are born compassionate. We teach them to not be. We tell them, brainwash them essentially, that it doesn't matter. They don't matter. They don't have feelings. They don't have social lives. Actually, as I say this, I'm going to link another episode in the show notes. Episode 76, Infant Indoctrination by Will Tuttle at worldpeacediet.com. which is exactly about that point that we are indoctrinated from an early age. And I understand it's hard to make the change. I experienced all that, the denial, the justifications, and then trying to figure out how to eat differently. But there are so many options nowadays. Tune in tomorrow for some ideas, and please share this episode with anyone who might benefit, and thanks for listening.